Hey, it's me, Makoto Yuki, from Persona 3 Portable on the Valve Steam store.
Love it or hate it, Persona 5 is one of the biggest JRPGs of all time. It was nominated for multiple Game Awards, including Game of the Year. And, including the updated version, it has sold over 5 million copies worldwide as of June 2021. That being said, it is a sequel, which means that there is a Persona 1 through 4. Naturally, since it is the biggest and latest release of the Persona series, more and more people wanted to get into it. However, due to the lack of backwards compatibility in the PS4 being the main platform that Persona 5 was played on, and most PS3s not having backwards compatibility with the PS2, many people who loved Persona 5 were not able to play any of its predecessors legally. This is until Atlus finally caved in and ported Persona 4 Golden to the Steam platform in summer of 2021. This Steam port for Persona 4 Golden sold over 1.5 million copies. This inspired Atlus to be a lot more open to porting games to other consoles than just the PlayStation. This leads us to today's topic of Persona 3 Portable being ported to modern consoles and PC. Mainly why I personally believe that it's better that we get the portable version of Persona 3 as opposed to FES or the base version. Before we start going, let me first line out the differences between both versions. FES has extra months to the game for The Answer, which is a story that continues the plot of Persona 3 and concludes it properly. Aside from that, most of the main game is unchanged. Persona 3 Portable, on the other hand, has an entirely different visual presentation, leading well into the visual novel aspect of it. It also gives the overworld a point-and-click UI instead of having the main character roam around in open worlds. But the biggest changes to Persona 3 Portable from the original is the inclusion of the female main character, who has different social links than the male protagonist does, and on top of that, they also changed the combat system so that you can control your entire party as opposed to just the leader. However, the main reason why I believe that they should port Persona 3 Portable instead of Persona 3 FES is the fact that you all are gonna buy it anyways. When I said that Persona 5 caused Atlus to make ports of the other games, I wasn't telling the entire story. Before the port of Persona 4 Golden was even announced for Steam, we've had multiple games in the Persona series, albeit spin-offs. The two most noteworthy are Persona 3 Dancing Moon Knight and Persona 5 Dancing Star Knight. The reason why I think we should take note of this is because many people believed that Persona 3 Dancing Moon Knight and Persona 5 Dancing Star Knight were supposed to be one game, but were split, kind of like a Pokemon version. However, unlike different versions of Pokemon, you can't really trade over songs from game to game with another friend. This means that despite the fact that the developers set aside a certain amount of time and resources to make one game, you're only getting half of the content, and there's no way for you to get the full content for free instead of paying another $60 to get the other half of it. Unlike Pokemon, where you can negotiate with someone and talk to them about trading certain Pokemon in order to get a complete Pokedex. Now, all of this can be forgiven due to the fact that the games in total have not sold over 100,000 copies, meaning that a lot of people aren't buying any of it. However, this brings us to our next point of Persona 5 Royal. Royal is a sort of Game of the Year or updated version of the game. It comes with a bunch of DLC that the previous game had, but instead has them as free. But on top of that, it has Day 1 DLC for Minato Arisato and Yu Narukami. Though this does seem like a less worse version of the situation from before, where there were two whole games cut up into two $60 price tags, and now there's only one game with a $60 price tag, and a $10, if I remember correctly, DLC for the boss characters of the main protagonists of the previous game. This will become a problem for mainline Persona games. An example of Atlus showing similar behavior can be found with the Dante and Raito fights in SMT3 Remastered. Despite the fact that both fights were free and already downloaded onto their disc of SMT3, you have to download both of them, Dante's being the most egregious since you have to pay $10 for it. Raito is a bit more forgivable considering he's DLC, but it's kind of weird to see that he's not in the base game like he was in the original release. This is even worse than a Day 1 DLC situation. Instead of putting a certain amount of time and resources into one game and then cutting out some of the content that you think can be used as DLC, you're actively cutting away content that was already in the original game and reselling it to them for a markup price, as opposed to having it with the already made remaster of the game. I can only imagine what they're going to do with Persona 6, but I'll bite my tongue in that regard for now. However, since we know that Persona 3 Portable is coming out, and there is a version of the game with extra content that they are not using, I can only speculate that they are holding it off to make it paid DLC for day one. I would be ecstatic if there were to be a toggle for Persona 3 FES and Persona 3 Portable, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Regardless, even though I definitely believe that a polymerization of the two games would be ideal as a way to play them on newer systems, why do I say that we deserve Persona 3 Portable instead of Persona 3 FES? The reason why I believe this is because it's what we have engendered for these past years. We have allowed Atlus to lock off content that was initially present in the regular game, and when they remaster it, they take it away and we buy it as DLC. There's this one video called Why Persona 3 Portable Should Be Cancelled. I agree with it for the most part. However, at the very end they say,
even though I'm not satisfied with Atlus's decision here, I will still probably buy it to show my support. As far as I'm concerned, we need all the Atlus ports we can get.
I heavily disagree with this decision. Now, a part of it is definitely because you can just find a ROM of it online and emulate it via PPSSPP, but another part of it is because you're engendering Atlus's behavior of making remasters of games without adding the full content to it. If you're fine with Persona 3 Portable being ported to Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation 4, then go ahead and buy it. But if you want Persona 3 FES instead, then you should wait until Persona 3 FES comes out on those platforms. You shouldn't buy what we have in the meantime. Some of you may argue, well, we're supporting Atlus by buying these ports, even if they're bad and even if they're incomplete. However, there are alternative ways to support Atlus. Similarly as to anime, Atlus creates figurines of their properties. Buying these figurines instead of buying these remasters or ports tells Atlus that though you have an interest in the franchise, you don't want to buy the games because they're somehow inefficient to what you remember them to be. We already saw that SMT Nocturne's success led to Day 1 DLC in SMT 5, meaning that Atlus thinks that it's an okay thing to do, even when we don't think so, because we're still buying it anyways. There is the possibility that they will change the games to having a different style of storytelling or a different style of gameplay, but I'm willing to risk that for a better product.